Hi, this is Jessica Adams. If you like astrology and murder mysteries, how about our new audiobook, The Aries Billionaire?
Hi, I'm Rachel Wells. The Aries Billionaire is the first audiobook in my new series with Jessica, Leo Moon, Astrologer Detective.
You can order it at audible.co.uk now.
Leo Moon is the Hercule Poirot of horoscopes,
Though he's a bit younger and better looking.
and we really hope you like it.
Rachel is a Sunday Times bestseller, so I predict you will.
This is the Astrology Show podcast with Jessica Adams.
Thanks, Shane. Here is your astrology and tarot for the week starting Monday, the 12th of February, ending on Sunday, the 18th. Aries, well, Diana in Leo is the woman, which might be you, who wants space and needs independence in relationships and with children. So this is you if you are an Aries female, and it's a woman in your life if you are a man. There is a question here about how to make it all work. Diana in astrology is all about wanting some sort of relationship and yet not accepting the conventional or traditional interpretation of that. So this might explain your astrology this week. There is something about this woman and about the situation which doesn't add up. There are babies in the background in the past. There may have been pregnancies that did or did not happen in the history. And that's part of it, even though it's not really conscious. But what we have here is somebody who needs to find a place for what is a unique, unorthodox, unconventional connection. And it's not going to be where she is at the moment. And again, this may be you. If you're an Aries woman, you may be relating to this. There is a place for everything and everything in its place. So it's a matter of finding out where that might be. This is rather like finding some unusual, exceptional object and realizing that it's not going to belong in your apartment or your house. Maybe you need to create a new place for it. So sorting that out will be the story of the week. If it's not sorted out and there is no niche for this particular connection, then there may be a period of not moving, procrastinating, not knowing what to do, stay or go, fast or slow. Nothing happens. Figuring out the way forward is something that you can help with if you're a male Aries. Maybe it's time for you to put your two bobsworth in, or maybe you can assist this woman in finding a space for this to work. If you're a female Aries, then take your time. There's no mad rush. But you do need to do something, because if you go on pondering and wondering and trying to make sense of it, nothing's really going to change. Taurus. Well, this week you have Juno in your fifth house of pregnancy, babies, infants, school children, and the next generation. Juno is a sign of commitment. At the moment, every door is open for a commitment to be followed through or for you to actually make one. So you may proceed with IVF or an adoption, for example, or you may be invited to become a godparent. It's on that level. If you made a commitment a long time ago to the children in your life, then this week tells you that story is ongoing. Here is a new chapter. Sometimes this is just because of school, the school year and the school term. Sometimes it's more serious. It really depends on your natal chart. I've been talking a bit about Diana in Leo. If you're one of those Taurus people who has Leo factors, then it's a double whammy this week because you also have patterns in the same zone of your chart there too. What this younger person requires, what the younger generation requires, is a commitment to future growth. So it's a bit like gardening. You can't just plant sunflowers and hope that they'll carry on by themselves. This week says, are you prepared to put in the work, the time, the energy, and the long-term commitment? And yet it won't feel like work. It's going to feel more like something wonderful that you're very happy to have in your life. Juno can be a bit like that when she passes through your chart because she is about the commitment, and this is a promise or a pledge, but she's also about the enjoyment of it too. Gemini. Well, you or somebody else is on the move this week. There will be a relocation or a vacation. If it's you, it may be because you've had enough of a situation and you absolutely need to put yourself somewhere new. Part of the appeal for you, if you are on the move, is the fact that the future is a blank slate. Nothing is filled in. It's up to you to colour in the landscape of the future. And if it's not you, but you know the people who are relocating or perhaps leaving one place for another temporarily, then there's the sense here that this is a moment whose time has come. There is no alternative, because to stay where one was is to be really stuck. You've been hearing about Lunar New Year, Year of the Dragon. Whenever we get the Asian wheel turning in astrology, it is time to end one phase and start another. So this is happening now for you, or for somebody who's important to you. I talked about the blank landscape, the future not being filled in, and that's absolutely true. There is a tremendous need here not to take baggage with you, or for them not to take baggage with them. And this isn't boxes and it isn't bags. It's about memories and expectation. It's about anticipating what or who you think will be at the other end. If there's anything there that means you are already filling in the picture in a slightly negative way, or somebody else is doing that, then this is the moment to stop and ask yourself why that should be the case. There is absolutely no reason to expect anything but something positive from what is there before you or there before them. Cancer. Well, Lunar New Year is in Aquarius. The new moon is in Aquarius, which rules your finances. You or somebody absolutely keynote here is in a very good position financially, with business, with charity, and there is a sense here of figuring out the life budget. If it's you, then there is an argument here for watching the property market rather than just letting it run on in the background, actually turning to pay attention to what the property market is doing in more than one location. And there's also a suggestion here of maybe another pair of eyes or another opinion on your accounting. If you know somebody like this and you need to strike a deal with them, make a bargain with them, then you need to know that this person is extremely attached to everything that they own, earn, or have accumulated. They're pretty fixed, and you're going to have to read minds and hearts in order to get them to open up a bit and maybe spend or lend. Whatever the agreement is, what we have here is a situation where the fixed is being unfixed. And that's something that can only happen every 248 years as Pluto, the change planet, goes into Aquarius, which rules the finances. If you know that this applies to you, then there is a good argument here for talking to somebody else and saying, well, what would happen if ... Hypothetically, if I was to just relax the grip a little bit, stop hanging on, what would happen? That could be an interesting discussion for you to have in this very important Lunar New Year post-week. Leo. Well, there's an interesting case here for love being evergreen or romance that never dies. There is a sense of renewal here with the past. Now, this may be your current marriage or partnership, or it may be a former partner, but you have all sorts of wheels turning, Leo, in Aquarius, which rules relationships, past, present, and future, and Pluto is the transformer. So there is something here that is ready to begin again, but in a different way. This is for you if you're a female Leo, and if you're a male Leo, it's about a very important woman in your life. We also have a clear picture here of the environment being the thing, the lifestyle, and enjoying one's surroundings, the day-to-day. There is nothing routine about that, Leo, this week, because you are at least in a position to enjoy what other people are offering you. But maybe you are also being rewarded for all that hard work and effort, being shown that day-to-day life doesn't have to be all work and no play. You can actually luxuriate in and enjoy your surroundings. That's a very big message this week for you, Leo. It's time to actually enjoy what rewards you have reaped. And if you are a male, it is perhaps time to get more involved in the world of a woman who is very much at home in the world. Virgo. Well, the financial side of your horoscope is ruled by Libra and Aries, which is where we find the North Node and the South Node. So juggling is part of the course. What we have here is you or somebody else trying to make it all work. And the reality is that the economic climate of your country, or even the whole planet, has never been so unpredictable and erratic as it is now. There are lots of reasons for that, but what you're really concentrating on or this other person is concentrating on, is the micro picture in the macroeconomic climate. So it's about trying to get a new system rather than constantly juggling or moving from incomings to outgoings, from debt to credit and so on, or even from one income source to another. There is a fairly decent argument here this week for coming up with a way that is more adaptable and adaptive, not tying yourself down to constantly being on the back foot, but coming up with a method that will be flexible enough to bend when you need to bend, which, quite frankly, given the world economy, is rather a lot. So take the time out to do that. If you can find the time this week, your horoscope suggests it will pay off nicely for you. Libra. Well, I've been talking a bit about Diana in Leo, and for you, that's in your sector of groups, circles, communities, clubs, and teams. There is something here that isn't quite right, and you're probably well aware of it. People, when they get together, can plot and plan as much as they like, though, and it will not affect you, not if you're quick off the mark. This week is all about strategy. It's all about making a chess move before the other people do, and you are in a good position to be so fast off the mark that actually they won't even know what's happened. Whenever we get Diana in Leo in the 11th house of your solar chart, there's always a suggestion here of a tribe, and maybe it is a tribe of sorts, but what you have to your advantage is that you can remove the potential for an issue before it becomes an issue. You can get rid of what might be used against you or other people before anybody has a chance to realize what happened. So this is high strategy. And it doesn't really matter whether the group is a sports team, political party, somebody on Mumsnet, whatever it is. You've got that kind of horoscope this week that says you can do this and you can be there and gone before they know what's happened. Scorpio. Well, you absolutely know all about the family tree and the branches on it this week. And this has been coming for a while now. Pluto is now in Aquarius in your 4th house, which rules your relatives, your immediate family, and even your extended family too. And it's been there since January. You can't go on the way things have been, and that's really clear. There's just one question here this week. Do you let the winds of change blow? Do you let nature take its course and the family tree be reshaped? Or do you get proactive about it and make it happen? Or do you encourage somebody else to do the same? What we have here is quite a lot of power in the atmosphere. Pluto is your ruler, and he is all about powerful atmospheres. In fact, you can say that about the planet. NASA would tell you the same thing. Something here says that if there's going to be new growth in the family tree in the years to come, then everything has to be sorted out, and the sooner the better. This may happen because nature takes its course, as I've mentioned, or it may be that there's a bit of life gardening to be done. You or a key figure, probably a man, wants to roll your sleeves up and get to grips with what frankly should have been done a very long time ago. Will there be new growth once it's finished? There absolutely will. And so we go to Sagittarius. Sagittarius, when you realize that everything is in your head, you can be proactive about making sure that you get what you want and don't conjure up visions of what you don't want. Pluto is the planet I've been chatting about, and he is in your sector of the mind. And this is all about your imagination, your thoughts, and your projections. What's showing up in your horoscope this week is a lack of awareness of reality. You may even be mistaking non-reality for reality. And that can be a good thing because, quite frankly, some of the visions that you have, people or situations that you find toxic or confronting aren't real. At the same time, it's quite true that your daydreams about a house or an apartment, property, a holiday home, your daydreams about money or success are also not real. So this week is all about coming back to yourself and understanding that so much of what is there is just a figment of your imagination or a memory. There is nothing here to suggest that anything would get in the way of you changing, but you have to change your mind. Pluto is in Aquarius for a really long time, about 20 years. So over the course of time, you'll become quite used to this way of thinking about your thoughts. The 3rd house of your chart is about how you process information and it leads you into areas like cognitive behavioural therapy, if that's your cup of tea. If it's not, then on the most simple level this week, it's time to ask yourself, is who or what I find so repugnant actually there? And if I want more money or I want a particular house or apartment, how can I make it real? Capricorn. Well, this week is all about you and the other person in a two-way street, meeting on the middle of the dual carriageway. This may be your marriage, it may be a burgeoning relationship. Perhaps it's you and your ex and you need to make amends. There are all sorts of ways this could manifest. It may be a friend, for example, a platonic friendship. Maybe it's a family member, but it's definitely a two-way street. And there's a feeling here of the time being right. Everything depends on trust and also communication. There's a fair bit of guesswork here, anticipating what the other person's doing, saying, or thinking, and there's a fair bit of hesitation about, am I getting it right? The only thing that's really going to work is an honest conversation, but that can happen. This is, of course, Valentine's week, and maybe that's part of the story for you. Looking at the overarching issue, though, it's absolutely about the dynasty for you or for the other person. So this is about heirs, spares, and pretenders to the throne, whether you have children or not. This is the elephant in the room, if you like, looking at your horoscope. And it's probably going to be useful to note it and also figure out what you're going to say about it. This applies if you've had children or not, or whether there's a suggestion here about younger relatives in the picture. All of this comes back to your chart, which shows Uranus and also Jupiter moving through the 5th house, which is about heirs, spares, and pretenders. So there is something to discuss here. It could take more than one discussion, but it's completely worth starting the ball rolling. Aquarius. You're another one of these signs like Scorpio, who may be in the family, who are affected by Pluto in Aquarius going through your chart, but also Uranus, your ruling planet, going through the family tree zone. So this is more than just the family itself. This is about where you come from, your sense of belonging to a place, the geography as much as the people. Everything's changing. Nothing can stand still. And it is not a million miles away from what I was saying to Scorpio, in that sometimes the family tree simply has to be reshaped in order to promote new growth. And that appears to be happening without you. You could be proactive and sort it out yourself, or support and back somebody else who wants to do the same thing. Or you could let nature take its course. Long term, the instability that's there this week and the feeling of not being grounded and not being settled will be replaced by something else. But that something else has to be very new and very different. And it's not going to happen if you simply let the family tree go on being just the way it was in 2023, 2022, and so on. There is a lot to be said for Lunar New Year. It's Year of the Dragon, and sometimes you just need to let the past go where it's going to go, let it land where it's going to land. And if life feels as if it's a bit unpredictable and a bit wild this week, then so be it. Sometimes you have to accept that in order to get the potential for something better with the family later on. Pisces. Well, in the spirit world, people evolve and go to the next level, just as we do here. There is an event here for spirit, your friends and family there, which changes everything this week. You might say it's the breakthrough that spiritually your people have been waiting for. If you are sensitive, and many Piscean people are, then you will pick it up or even be absolutely aware of what's going on. Even if you're not tuning in, though, it's true to say that what happens to them also has an impact on you and your people down here. So it's a two-way street. It's also quite possible this week, looking at your chart, that there is an event to come, which means that those in spirit can finally break through. It's almost as if they've been waiting for something to happen on this side of life. It happens. And for them, that means at last they can move on. Lots of Pisces people are mediumistic. You are sensitive and you have that ability to step into different time space zones. So maybe this week will reveal that to you. It's entirely possible, but it's an important week and it's going to make a difference to them and to you. Your tarot card this week is Aries, the Queen of Cups, Taurus, the Sun, Gemini, the Six of Swords, Cancer, the Four of Pentacles, Leo, the Empress, Virgo, the Two of Pentacles, Libra, the Seven of Swords, Scorpio, the Knight of Swords, Sagittarius, the Seven of Cups, Capricorn, the Two of Cups, Aquarius, the Page of Swords, and Pisces, Judgment. Looking at your natal chart, Mars enters Aquarius on the 13th of February. Venus enters Aquarius on the 16th of February. Pluto is already there. So if you have Aquarius factors in your birth chart, then it's all about friends and groups, and it will change you and it will change them. And together, collectively, you will change a corner of your world. Happy birthday this week to Ray Manzarek, who would have been 85 on the 12th of February. Peter Hook, who is 68 on the 13th. Peter Tork, who would have been 82 on the 13th. Mick Avery, who is 80 on the 15th. Andy Taylor, who's 63 on the 16th. And Yoko Ono, who's 91 on the 18th of February. If it's your birthday, then April and May are full of terrific turning points for your house, apartment, town, country, household, and or family. Embrace the change in April and May because change is coming, but it will set you free. Babies born this week will see the family move, renovate, redecorate, reshuffle the household, or welcome changes in the clan in April. Fated connections this week are Cancer and Virgo for financial reasons. Cancer can see the security and wealth. Virgo needs to juggle. So happy Lunar New Year. Here we are, Year of the Dragon. It always falls on the second new moon after the winter solstice in the Northern Hemisphere. So that was Saturday the 10th of February at exactly 7:59 in Tokyo. The sun was at 20 Aquarius 04 and the moon was at 20 Aquarius 04. I have recorded a Zoom about this for you on my YouTube channel with your Asian sign analysed, and there's also a feature on my website. So this is all about letting go of the past, letting go with gratitude, creating a home for all your belongings. By rights, this should have been done before Saturday the 10th of February, but you can still try what I call life sweep. So sweeping out the old year and making space for the new one. In fact, life sweep is a flip book on my website. This is also very similar to Spark Joy, Marie Kondo's way of thinking, or Karen Kingston and her space clearing. What I've heard from some of you is that you wanted to do this last week, but you just haven't had time. So here's the fastest, best way I know to catch up. You do this room by room. You give yourself half an hour per room. Into a big rubbish or garbage bag goes anything that you don't love or use. Stare it down or pick it up. Don't and ah about it. If you're not certain, it just goes into the bag. You then park the bags somewhere out of the way and then come back to them over the next few months, if you need to. If you don't need to, and this applies to everybody else who may be in the house or apartment, then let's be honest, it should probably go to a charity shop or sell it on eBay. Here's another tip. New York apartments are sold on floor space. In Manhattan, it costs you 1.5K per square foot. So room to move is solid gold, and very rich people will pay for space. So if you want to feel better off immediately, then you'll literally make space, even in your bedroom. The other thing to talk about this week, and it's an action-packed week, is Charles III. I've seen a lot of media misreporting of my original prediction about him, which ran back in the year 2022, about the year 2024. So to set the record straight, in a feature called Charles, Astrology and the Royal Family, from September the 24th, 2022, you read, there are no guarantees in 2022 to 2024 for the royal family. In that piece, I quoted Charles Carter from 1949. He wrote, at some time, the native, which was Charles, could relinquish the burden of his high estate. Now, he published this when Charles was just a baby. I also read about the coronation in that feature. I was amazed that it went ahead. That's Charles's 8th house of inheritance, financial and close relationships, wills and legacies, absolutely eclipsed on the day. And I wrote about a crisis from January the 22nd, 2024, now, until March the 5th, 2025. For more, I'll let you go to the website. But that was not a coronation. Crowns went on heads, but there is a secret document sealed under former Prime Minister Tony Blair, which will be unsealed one day by law and show that the marriage to Camilla made the coronation unconstitutional and illegal. You have to remember that the coronation date was set on Mercury retrograde. Crowns went on heads on Mercury retrograde and an eclipse. And according to the horoscopes, there will be a retro coronation analysis later. This week is also St. Valentine's Day. 2 signs will find this particularly momentous, Leo and Libra. For the first time in 248 years, the big change planet Pluto is in the heart zones of both the Libra and the Leo chart. So that's why big wheels are also turning. We could talk a bit about compatibility and chemistry in general, as it is Valentine's Day, and all the myths that go with it in astrology. Probably the best one of all is that a sun sign to sun sign tells you how compatible people are. It really doesn't. It shows you who helps you shine and who doesn't. Now, that is important in a relationship or a marriage, but it's just as likely to be important at work. So comparing, for example, an Aries to a Taurus or a Gemini based on the sun sign doesn't really get you very far. What you need to look at with 2 charts are the big relationship factors in the horoscope. So running through the list, the moon is the first one because the moon describes how you need to be needed. The moon describes your maternal instinct, even if you're a man, and that can be extremely important if you're in a relationship where you want to have children. So looking at the moon by sign and by aspect is the very first clue that you get when you're looking at 2 people together. Moving on, you go to Venus. Now, Venus is different again because she is about, well, the purely passionate side of attraction and love and romance. But often there's not much love in it because Venus is all about seduction. She can be quite unethical. She can be quite immoral. Therefore, people talking about Venus as the goddess of love or the planet of love are forgetting the fact that she committed adultery. She is also a symbol of what the poets knew and what the songwriters know. So you can't really knock Venus, and yet there's more to a relationship than just Venus signs as well. It really depends on what you want from a relationship or a marriage. I get questions all the time about compatibility and if something is ever going to happen with somebody. Sometimes relationships are there for a short term only because they have a particular purpose to serve. And your horoscope can tell you that. It can tell you why you are with somebody for X amount of months or years and what it's supposed to achieve for you. And sometimes it might not be what you expected at all. So even going past the relationship, asteroids and planets like Juno, who is a symbol of commitment, for example, you really need to look at the whole chart and ask yourself, well, what am I going for here? And what is the other person pursuing? So sun sign to sun sign, I'm afraid that's a 1960s, 1970s concept. It would be lovely if it worked, but 9 times out of 10, people that you know who've been married for years have allegedly incompatible signs, which tells you everything. Start with the moon and Venus and go from there. If you want to know more about the relationship, asteroids and planets, that's also on my website. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch up with you next week.